I always say we're behind the closed door. You don't see us going out at 3 a.m. to a fire call and handing a card to that family who has lost everything to go have a place to sleep and a hot meal.
Welcome back to Bottled Up. I'm Andrew Allen, and today we're excited to welcome Emily Sham, the Regional Philanthropy Officer for the American Red Cross in Alabama and Mississippi. Emily, a native of Madison, Mississippi, transitioned from studying marketing at Mississippi State University to working in event planning and leading marketing efforts for Two Men in a Truck. More importantly, she has made a significant impact on the Mississippi Gulf Coast through her work with the local Red Cross. In this episode, Emily shares her journey from her hometown to college and her vibrant experiences on the coast. She also discusses her passion for building connections and her impactful work with the Red Cross, covering topics such as disaster relief, surprising statistics about home fires, and programs for children and military families. Prepare for dynamic and inspiring insights into local philanthropy and community spirit. So grab a Pepsi, settle in, and let's dive into Emily's story. Welcome to another episode of Bottled Up. This morning I have a very special guest, Miss Emily Sham, the Regional Philanthropy Officer for the Alabama-Mississippi region. Emily, thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
I wanted to kind of get you on because you wear many hats. I'm interested in a lot of what you have going on. But I'd first like to learn a little bit more about yourself. So tell me a little bit about where you grew up and what you did after high school.
Yeah. So I grew up in Madison, Mississippi, just right outside of Jackson. Went to a small private school, MRA, played basketball there, and had a great high school experience. From there, there wasn't really many options on where to go to college. I knew I wanted to go to Mississippi State, so applied to Mississippi State, got in. Started out as a marketing degree and really just kind of wanted to go that route. But then I soon realized there was an ATM program, which stands for Apparel, Textiles, and Merchandising at Mississippi State. That was very good. So I told my dad, my dad owned a laundry business, and he was like, "You're not going to make any money in that. Don't do that. Stay in marketing." And I was like, "No, I want to do it." And I was like, "Well, if people aren't wearing clothes, then you're going to be out of business too." So he was like, "Okay, touche." So
that's a fair point.
Yeah. So he let me major in apparel, textiles, and merchandising, but I did get minors in marketing and business. So once I finished college, moved back home and really and during each summer I would come home, I worked for an event planner, and I really kind of got into that scene. So I worked for an event planner my first summer out of college, and then she connected me with a very well-known lady, Wendy Putt. She owns Fresh Cut Catering and Floral, does the biggest weddings in Mississippi. She's amazing. So they do the food and flowers. So I was kind of like her executive assistant.
Got it. Yeah. You were learning at the feet, basically.
Yep. It was very fast paced. It was very quick. So I started off doing that, loved it, but in reality just didn't have a life. So we had a family friend who owned the 2 Men in a Truck in Ridgeland, Mississippi. And he asked if I would be interested in doing the marketing. Knew nothing about moving. And I was like, I don't know. I guess I'll see. So I started September 2013 with 2 Men in a Truck in Ridgeland.
Okay. All right. So I was a state grad as well, and I was actually a marketing major as well. So I know you probably spent some time in McCool Hall.
Yep, for sure.
What year did you graduate from state?
I graduated in 2012.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I was 2009. So you were probably there freshman year.
Yeah, I was probably a sophomore. Yeah, so I would have been a sophomore that year.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, I love. Have you been up there recently?
I have, and it's amazing to see what it is now. Because back when I was there,
it's
there was
not the same.
It is not the same. Which it's funny. My maiden name is actually Allen.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I'm Emily Allen Sham. But so usually, like when there's another Allen, you see them on all the stuff at school. Wonder if you're related to them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's only a couple. There's a few on the coast. Normally, people think that I am related to someone who sells cars. So it's interesting. I love my time at Mississippi State. I think it's a great school, and I think that The ATM program was really good too. My wife actually started, it's kind of ironic. She actually started in ATM and then switched to marketing and got a marketing degree. So I met her. She's originally from Meridian. So I met her up there as well.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. What a
Yeah.
small world.
It's like the exact opposite of what
Yeah.
you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
She
is
was smarter
interesting.
than.
But she got a lot better grades than I did and graduated on time. It took me 5 years to get what she did in four. So, but so you graduated from state, went back home, and then you had an opportunity to do some marketing for a 2 Men in a Truck. So, explain to me what was your first, I guess, initiative that you took over whenever you started doing that, and explain to the audience who 2 Men in a Truck is. You see their trucks everywhere.
Yeah.
Explain what their services are and kind of what your first initiative was whenever you took over.
Yeah. So at the time, they had never had anyone market for them, and they had been in business for since 89, roughly. So they had been in business in Ridgeland for quite some time, 20 years, but they had never had anyone market for them. And the way just the industry was changing, they knew that they needed someone to be out marketing. So 2 Men in a Truck is a franchise, but they are all locally owned and operated. So we do have certain standards and things we abide by, which is great for the customers. And then, we do any moving needs, local, long distance, apartments, assisted living, storage moves, packing, you name it, we do it. And we base it all on what the customer is in need of. So when I took over that position in marketing, I really wanted to just get out in the community and start building relationships with people, kind of like I've done with Ashton and you guys, but just kind of have friendships all over and letting them, not so much, hey, I'm Emily with 2 Men in a Truck, but hey, I'm Emily, and I just so happen to work at 2 Men in a Truck. But right. Getting involved with the chambers there in Madison and just getting involved. 2 Men in a Truck does a lot of giving back to their community. And so Movers for Moms, it happens every spring, but we collect items for women in need around Mother's Day. And it goes to a beneficiary that may have women living in shelters and things like that. So that was probably like my first taste of like really networking, getting people to have a collection box at their business or anywhere, really. Anywhere anyone would let me put a box, I was putting a box. So was very successful in that. And then, so I was there for 5 years.
Okay. That's a fair amount of time, honestly.
Yeah. My husband was actually the general manager at the time, and we met through 2 Men in a Truck. He's a little bit older than me, but he was like, I'm done with girls. I don't want to date anybody. But I just thought like I was smitten.
That's good.
So long story short, we ended up getting married in 2015. And then we had a little girl. We were both still at 2 Men working together. And it took about those 5 years to figure out how to work with your spouse, because that is not easy.
No.
It's a total different ballgame. But then he had the opportunity to move down to the coast and buy the franchise down here. There is another owner involved in the one down here. He lives in Alabama, but he wanted someone to kind of run the day-to-day operations and take over ownership down here. So we moved when our daughter was 1, which was super hard for me. I actually talked to the Leadership Gulf Coast class maybe like a year or two after I moved here. They wanted a perspective of what the coast was from an outsider, and I kind of got some flack for it. But living in Madison, when you moved, you didn't really come to the coast. It was like coasty trash is what we said.
Yeah. Give me the skinny on that. I have family, and the reason why I say that is because I have first cousins who live in Madison, the Kennedy family.
Okay.
So I have first cousins up there, and it's Beth and Jeff Kennedy. He's an orthopedic surgeon up there. So give me the skinny on what your report was on when you came down.
Well, they had me come and present to the class. And so I had mentioned that. And some people who knew me, they were like, that's obviously not what, she meant. But the long story short, I pretty much said, but living here, it's totally not that way at all.
Yeah.
You would joke, you don't even come to the coast to go to the beach. You go to Gulf Shores or you go to Destin. But living here, I mean, my mom was like, are you going to move back to Madison? I would never leave the coast. Like, we absolutely love it. We have 2 small kids. I have an 8-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old son. They go to Bayou View Elementary. Like, we love it.
Same. My kids go there.
Okay. Yeah. We love it. I mean, You could not, which my husband, when we drove down here just to kind of see where our office is on Highway 49, right here in Gulfport, and he drove us down here to like see the office, and compared to what our office was in Ridgeland, that 2-minute truck, it's much bigger. It's all brick. And so here I was like, we're moving here for this is smaller franchise. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. I was like, I don't think this is a good idea. We're about to be 3 hours away from my parents. We have a 1-year-old, but it was the best decision we could have ever made. I have made so many lifelong friends here.
The funny thing about this place is that outside looking in, you don't really understand it. And
right.
You're kind of like, oh, there's a stigma around it. And then once you get in it, you get sucked in. And so now you're part of it. And then you never understood how people could not live here.
Well, and it's funny. The first, I'll tell you a funny story. We moved here and my husband was like, we like to go on the boat and do the pool and all that kind of stuff. And we got a Sea-Doo pontoon boat. They were newer at the time, and we tried to take it to Horn Island. He's like, this is not the boat for the coast.
No,
and so
that's a lake boat.
That is a lake boat. So we ended up selling it. We got a new boat last year, a Key West, much more.
Oh, yeah, those are great.
For running to the island, and we love it. Our kids have a great time. We have a lot of friends that will meet us on the it's just fun. It's a different. And we actually just took out a couple of friends of ours that we met through softball with my daughter. They're actually getting, he's military, and they're heading back to Tampa in November. But they were like, no wonder everyone likes the coast. Like, they haven't had that side of the experience. They were kind of finding it hard to like meet people and, have close relationships. And they were like, oh, this is it. This is why people enjoy, because you're just floating in the water on Horn Island, just having a good time, with friends and kids jumping around. So the coast is unique, but it's very special. And I don't take that for granted at all, having a small business here and then also working along so many wonderful people through the Red Cross as well.
Okay. So what year was it that you moved down here?
We moved down here in January 2018.
Okay. From talking to you, you kind of have that networking you enjoy relationships with people.
Yes.
And that's kind of what fuels you, and you want to get out, and you're a very community oriented person. So I imagine that, running marketing for 2 Men in a Truck for the Coast franchise, which, by the way, how far north and east and west do you guys go?
So we run all the way into the state line of Louisiana and then Alabama for our territory, and then up to Hattiesburg, which is also our area. And then the Ridgeland franchise kind of takes over from Hattiesburg.
Got it. It's highly similar to where our franchise lines run. I mean, we go, we're the southern 6 counties.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is what our franchise runs. So that's interesting.
But the good thing about that is we do get to cross state lines. So if we have someone here and they still want to move to Georgia or Florida, we can still take them there.
Right.
But as far as like people calling in and wanting to use our services, that's kind of like our area for like our local moves.
Yeah, it's like your area of operation, but you'll go outside to take someone out.
Right. Or bring them back in. We have friends that live in our neighborhood who are moving from Texas here and want to use us because they know us, and we can do that too.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really neat. How many franchises are there in 2 Men in a Truck? Do you know?
Gosh, 400. I mean, there's a lot. They're in Ireland. They're in England. They're in Canada.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's so crazy to see the trucks that are in England too, in Ireland, because they don't look like our trucks.
Yeah, they're like some random brand of
yes.
It's not an American GMC, Chevy, Ford kind of situation.
It's not. It's kind of like a double decker.
It's like a Peugeot or something like that.
But yeah, we're all over.
I didn't realize that they had that many.
Oh yeah, the headquarters are in Lansing, Michigan.
Okay.
And it actually was started by a lady named Mary Ellen Sheets and her 2 sons. They jokingly say we just wanted to move people for beer and books when they were in college. And so they started doing it with a pickup truck. And then she bought them their first box truck.
Yep.
And then the first franchise was in Atlanta. So her daughter started that. So
what's nuts about that is that it's possible to do that.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you can grow, I mean, like, they're international.
Yeah.
Which is insane. The fact that you can start off as like, I wanted a summer college gig that I could pay for some books and some drinking money. And then now there's franchises that I own in Ireland and England.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
crazy.
that is
It's
wild.
crazy.
Okay, so back to you. You came down in 2018. When did you decide that you wanted to start doing something community oriented and start getting on with the Red Cross? How did that come about?
When we moved down here, I knew obviously I needed to join the chamber. That was going to be my first thing to do. So I joined the Mississippi Gulf Coast Chamber, got super involved with Two Men. But Two Men, we have a very small staff, but we are strong and mighty. And so we have my husband, I have to give him credit. He does a very good job at coming into these franchises and just making them work and run very smoothly. Obviously, you're going to have things, but I was doing a lot of kind of admin work that was pulling me away from the marketing, and I really wanted to get back to just doing the marketing for them. So that's when I kind of went to him and said, can I just do the marketing and we can kind of figure out what to do with the other pieces that I do and really focus on marketing and branding for Two Men. And then he was like, yeah, but it's going to probably be more part-time. I was like, that's fine. And about that same time, a good friend of mine from Madison, who also is an RPO for the Red Cross in that area, was like, the guy that was doing it here on the coast just left. Would you be interested? And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I've been with, Two Men in a Truck for 11 years. I don't know if I see myself even doing anything else. And she was like, it's, a remote position. You can kind of do it at your own speed, your own time. And so that's kind of what got me started with that. I applied and they hired me. And so I've been there for about a year.
Okay.
But or about a year and a half, but I do feel like it's more, in my mind, I feel like it allows me to just network even more.
Yeah, like it kind of gives you a brand and a badge on your shirt to go out and increase your amount of networking, right?
Right, for sure. And there's still people, I have friends that still call me, say, hey, I need moving. A lot of the times I'm working out of the Two Men office, but doing Red Cross work or vice versa. So both companies, both employers are amazing. And I couldn't do it without their support, but it's awesome.
Well, let me ask you this. So you've been with the Red Cross for about a year and a half. What was it like onboarding with something that's been around as long as they have and something that everybody knows what the Red Cross is? Like it's kind of iconic in that space.
Yeah.
What was that like?
So it's like drinking from a fire hose. I felt like I was getting so much information. A lot of people think of the Red Cross as disaster relief. I was not here during Hurricane Katrina, but a lot of people were, and they remember the Red Cross coming around and serving meals. I've had people tell me, I remember seeing a truck and them providing hot meals. And, that just meant so much to our family at the time. And so that was really impactful to hear. I just didn't understand as much as the Red Cross was doing. And then right before I came on board, about 8 months prior, the executive director, who had been the executive director here in Gulfport for years and years and years, John McFarland, he unfortunately passed away. And then, so they were in a big transition of, someone who had been in this position for 20 plus years, getting a new executive director in, and then I was coming in. So our new executive director, John McCarty, started about 6 months before I did. So we've really been working together and trying to, get the Red Cross name out there as much as possible and letting people know the good work we're doing in our communities, because a lot of people just don't know everything we do.
Yeah. If you want to kind of get into like what does the Red Cross, because you're right, people just think, oh, well, a hurricane's destroyed this town, the Red Cross goes in, and helps with disaster relief, or like the wildfire situation in California and in Hawaii, but y'all do a lot more than that. So, I mean, I know for a fact that you guys do blood drives.
Yeah. So we have like 4 service areas that we kind of focus on. So disaster relief is one, but under disaster relief, believe it or not, home fires are the number one disaster that we respond to in our region. And we are the most disaster-prone region in the entire country. So Alabama and Mississippi have more disasters than anyone else in the entire country.
Jesus, I didn't know that.
Yeah, not a lot of people do. So when I'm talking to my donors and things like that, I get the same reaction, like, what? And then on an even larger scale, so Mississippi, Alabama has 8 chapters. So they're divided up, and each chapter has so many counties that they work. But through our volunteers, 90% of our work base is volunteers. We only have 10% that are paid staff.
Got it.
And then 90 cents of every dollar goes straight to the mission. So we really cut as much as we can. And that was one of the ideas we used to have a chapter in each county, which if you can imagine, there's like 100 plus counties in Mississippi and Alabama. So they brought it, scaled it back to have just a localized chapter. So the one here for Southeast Mississippi is located in Gulfport. But John, under those, he has like 20 counties that he's going all the way to Laurel and Meridian and, back. So, but it really is cool to see all the things that we do. So disasters, and then under disasters, my favorite is preparedness. We go out and install free smoke alarms. Anyone can call our office if they need a free smoke alarm. We really try to go into those underserved communities. We use a heat map, which is really neat to see where most fires, are most likely to happen. Elderly communities, older homes, things like that. So we actually, coming up in November, are partnering with Engle and Chevron to go out in Moss Point because that's where a lot of their employees live. And so they really wanted to focus in that area.
That's good.
To go out and install free smoke alarms.
So when you said, Emily, you use a heat map, what software, what are y'all using to utilize that?
Yeah, it's something through the Red Cross. We have all these awesome tools that we use. That's more of like the disaster side, but I think I could send it to you. I think anyone can pull it up and see. You just like hover over it and you can kind of see like the population, what's the chances of them having a fire, and things like that. It's really cool to see. And so when we were looking at it, we were looking at either Pascagoula or Moss Point for this specific event, and Moss Point had the greater need. So they both had a need, but Moss Point at this time had more. So we're going with that. So we're doing that in November, which is super exciting. So always looking for volunteers. So we have disaster. So that preparedness side is really fun. I like that. I've done the canvassing where we go out and just let people know we're going to be coming out the next weekend to install and handing out flyers. And it's a lot of fun to just meet people. And they're like, wow, y'all are really doing that?
Emily, that's a lot of cold calling.
Yeah. Well, we're on our feet. We are marching through the streets, but it's a lot. So that's one thing that I'm really trying to do is partner with businesses and organizations here on the coast that I know love to give back to their community and be like, hey, let's have your employees come out and do this for, a Saturday morning for 2 hours. The more people, the more houses we can hit, and it's just more effective. And then we also do youth preparedness. So we go into schools in grades K through 2nd and it's called Prepare with Pedro. And we go out and just tell them how to prepare for an emergency. It can be a fire, a hurricane, and the kids love it. It's super fun. I actually just got certified to teach the class because I was like, I want to go do this at my school. So the preparedness aspect, yes, we're going to respond to a disaster, but we also want to prepare the community in case of a disaster, such as a home fire or a hurricane.
Yeah, to get out in front of it. I can't believe I never would have thought that home fires would be like the main culprit of disaster in our area. That's very interesting.
I know. I did not either. And then just the financial aspect of how much we give out. If someone does have a home fire and they need somewhere to stay and they need food and they need clothes because they've lost everything, we go out with the fire department. So the fire department either calls us or we already have a heads up that this family is going to need assistance. And we have people on call 24 hours a day that will immediately go out. So we're the only nonprofit that has immediate response like that, which I think is
really
also
interesting.
Really cool. Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of disaster. Then we have blood. So blood drives all over the coast that you can come out and donate and also volunteer if you're unable to give blood. And then we also have training services, which training under that falls like your swim lessons, your CPR, first aid, all of that. So we offer those classes. They're held at our office every once in a while. And then we can also go into businesses if you want your employees to be certified. So we can do that. And then the other side is the volunteering. And then we have SAF, which stands for Service to the Armed Forces. And that's where we help military members with anything they may need, or veterans. I'll give you an example. If my husband was in the military and I was pregnant and the baby was coming, I need to get an emergency message to him and his commander and everything. So Red Cross is the only line of communication between civilians and troops overseas to get that information to them. So it's
Huh.
verified through the Red Cross, which is kind of cool because anybody can be like, oh, my wife's pregnant. I got to go home. I got to leave.
Yeah.
And so we are the verified source of that, which is really cool.
I had no idea that that was the case. That's very interesting.
Yep, we are nationally mandated to help with disaster relief and service to the armed forces, but we don't get any funding from the government. So that's also very interesting from a fundraising aspect. I'm like, so we're federally mandated to provide these assistance,
That doesn't make any sense to me, Emily.
right?
It's like, why are you going to be the only one who's authorized to do something when the government is not providing you any funding?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, that's a lot to take in. And I understand when you say, drinking from a fire hose, you're not joking.
No.
So you're obviously you've been there for a year and a half. You're still learning all this stuff.
Still learning. Still, I write a lot of grants for the Red Cross. So a lot of my accounts are foundation based. So I do a lot of grant writing, which I really enjoy. But that has allowed me to learn so much information because you're writing, over and over and over again. So that really helped kind of put me on a good path to be successful. And I'm just so genuinely proud of the Coast too, because I feel when I first started, I had so many Coast businesses in my portfolio that hadn't supported us that should have been. And I'm like, they're supporting every other nonprofit. Why haven't they been supporting us? And just knowing that I have those connections with those businesses and those leaders in the community to just say, hey, can you help us? Even if it's not financially, like, can you help us volunteer? Can you hold a blood drive? Just getting us more involved and in the community because we already are so in the community, but I always say we're behind the closed door. You don't see us going out at 3 a.m. to a fire call and handing a card to that family who has lost everything to go have a place to sleep and a hot meal.
You're right. They needed somebody like you who could give them that local face and local exposure so that people could understand, like, really, we're in the community already. It's not like, you see disaster relief and you see like news footage of like a Red Cross truck handing stuff out with a disaster. And that's what people think, there's the Red Cross, but no one really thinks about it from the perspective of you just described.
Right. I told them in my interview when I first started, I was like, I don't even know where the Red Cross office is. And
where is it?
And I'm very involved. It's right there on Pass Road. The Hyundai dealership used to be right there, right before courthouse.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I am very involved in the chamber. I'm very involved in the community, and Red Cross is nowhere to be found. Like, you don't see people from the Red Cross talking about the Red Cross. You don't see them out in the community. And so I was like, we need to change that. And so John McCarty, when he came on board, he was the exact same way. So we've kind of partnered and we're like, we need to take this town by storm pretty much because people need to know the good work that we're doing and ways they can give back by just giving blood, or making a monetary donation or volunteering. There's so many avenues and we are, all the money stays local.
That's another thing that people worry about too, is like, hey, if I donate, $1,000 to you, is it going to go up to Washington, D.C., or is it going to go like that's a worry that a lot of people worry about. It's just because they're not educated on how it works.
You are completely right. I don't know like the exact numbers, but just off the top of my head, I think it's just for our Southeast Mississippi chapter. It cost about $3 million to like provide all of the services we provide, operate, all of that kind of stuff. And we only bring in about 1 million. So the deficit is about 2 million. Obviously, that's not sustainable for a business, or a nonprofit. But because we are a part of a larger Red Cross network, we get funded from the Californias and the New Yorks and the states that are getting an excess amount of money fundraising, where we are not, because one, we're the most disaster prone. So I always tell people, I promise you, your money's staying here. We're not going to send it somewhere else because we need it here more than any other region in the entire country. So it definitely will stay local.
Well, that's good to know. And I think that if anybody, so When are y'all going to have your next blood drive?
You can go to redcross.org or blood and let's see, and put in your zip code and it like tells you exactly where the next one is. I know I'm giving September 19th, I think, at the Red Cross office. They have them a good bit at our Red Cross office in Gulfport, but you can just go online and look.
That's a really unique tool that if you want to just go give blood, there's multiple times and days and locations to go to.
Yeah, the Katrina 20-year, we have like a week long of blood drives for Katrina Memorial, like so people can come and give during that time too. And that's coming up soon. And so you'll see those kind of promoted through our social media. There's a American Red Cross Mississippi and then American Red Cross Alabama. So you can kind of keep up what's going on locally here in Mississippi. But yeah, it's really easy. I honestly had given blood before and got pregnant and just kind of quit. And then as soon as I started back, I was like, I got to give blood again. So
I need to do the same thing, Emily. I've did it a few times. I know I did it in high school. I did it in college a few times, and I've done it once since then. But I need to get out there and get back at it as well.
And they have a great app that you keep up with it. It will remind you, like it will show you all the blood drives near you. Set an appointment. You can cancel it if you need. It really is so easy and seamless. But we provide 40% of the country's blood. So we provide memorial. Blood to Memorial, which is kind of cool, like a local hospital. So if you have that blood type and there's a patient in need, it's going to stay right here.
Well, Emily, let me ask you this. If someone wanted to volunteer or if someone wanted to donate or give back or find out how to get involved with the Red Cross, how would they do that?
Yep. I would just say recommend go to redcross.org and it has everything you could possibly think of. Or you can just type in Red Cross Gulfport, Mississippi, and our chapter will pull up. I mean, literally you can click give now and you can make a donation. Or if anyone wants to reach out to me, I'm happy to talk to them. I'm all about meeting and telling people more about what we do.
That's great, Emily. And then also 2 Men in a Truck. We can't forget about that. If someone wants to get in contact with you about moving services or anything like that, how would they do that?
Yeah, we have a Facebook page, 2 Men in a Truck Gulf Coast. You can reach us. The easiest way I tell people is to call. I know people hate calling these days. They'd rather text.
I prefer it, honestly.
But I always tell people the easiest way is to call because most people are calling for an estimate. And the quickest way to go through that process is over the phone. It literally takes 10 minutes at max to give you a quote. They're all free. But our services are amazing. Our guys are great. We have guys that have been with us for, since I started in 2018. So we have a great crew.
That's rare, Emily.
Yeah, it is. Moving is probably one of the biggest turnovers with drivers and movers. And this heat is no joke.
Oh, I know all about it, girl. Yeah.
And so it's crazy. But yeah, we'd be happy to help anyone in the community. And in spring, so next April, we'll start kicking off our Movers for Moms campaign again. So if anyone wants to be a drop-off location for that, I still manage all of that. So April is really fun for me.
Question. So what number do they need to call to get in touch with 2 Men in a Truck?
Yep. It's 228-284-1736.
Okay. That's fantastic, Emily. Well, listen, it was great to meet you this morning. I appreciate your time and your dedication to the community. Coming down here and being here for almost 10 years now, and getting to see what the coast is all about from an outsider's perspective was really interesting to kind of hear. And I do think that it's a really special place, and we have a lot to offer down here. And I'm glad that you're out in the community, Emily.
Oh, thank you, Andrew. That means a lot. We love it. We'll be here to stay. The Shams will stay.
Yeah, I kind of just grew up here, spending time on the water, fishing, kneeboarding in the bayou, and going on sea-doos with my friends. And, a lot of my friends used to live near or on the water, so we would just, in the summertime, a lot of times we would just use boats and just walk. But it's a special spot, man. And we kind of take care of our own down here on the coast. So
for sure.
You know what I mean? So I appreciate your time this morning, Emily. And if there's anything we can do to help you out, just go ahead, reach out, let me know. And then also, if I ever move, which I don't think I will, I'll be using 2 Men in a Truck.
We appreciate you. Thank you.
Absolutely. What an incredible episode featuring the amazing Emily Sham. A huge thanks to her for sharing her journey from excelling in community marketing at 2 Men in a Truck to making a significant impact as a regional philanthropy officer with the Red Cross. It was inspiring to learn about the fantastic work the Red Cross does, which goes far and beyond disaster relief. They're involved in home fire response, blood drives, and supporting military families. Emily's passion for community and volunteering truly shines through, and she shares some great ideas on how we all can get involved, whether it's donating blood, lending a hand, or connecting with neighbors in need. And if you're planning a move, be sure to call 2 Men in a Truck on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Also, if you're feeling inspired to make a difference, visit redcross.org to donate, volunteer, or find a blood drive near you. Thanks once again to Emily and to all of you for being a part of our Bottled Up community. Until next time, keep those passions alive and let's continue to make our community a vibrant place for service and connection. This is Andrew Allen signing off, and remember to always support your local businesses, restaurants, museums, and organizations that make our Mississippi coast so special. Cheers. Thanks for listening to the Bottled Up Podcast. Want us to deliver this show to your email inbox as they drop? Want to tell us about how you like the show? Or do you want to tell us about a Gulf Coast business or restaurant that you'd like for us to spotlight in any upcoming episodes? Email Morgan Wheeler at mwheeler, MWHEELER at abevinc.com. That's ABEVINC.com. Want to know more about Allen Beverages and how we work with our clients, partners, and vendors? Check out allenbeverages.com. This show was edited and produced by Johnny Gwynn and Deep Fried Studios.